And we're live. Hello and welcome. I'm the Realist Philosopher, and this is the Realist Philosopher Show. So how y'all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. I'm doing crappy. I'm doing real crappy, as you might be able to guess from the very late start of this show. Holy shit, it was supposed to start 3 hours ago. What the fuck? The hell you doing, Realist Philosopher? Motherfucker! Well, you know, most of you ain't paying me, so you can piss off. Nah, I'm just fucking with you. Seriously, though, yeah, I was real busy today. It's something came up and impossible to avoid. As I said, sometimes on rare occasion, real life will intervene and stop me being able to start on time, although usually I start, even if it does start late, within like just a few minutes. But today, one of those very rare occasions, I had zero control, and that's life. That's life. Sometimes it's unpredictable, which, yeah, that's what makes life great and fun in most cases, but also, yeah, can really suck. It depends on the situation. Anyway, let's not dwell on that since the majority of you people watch after the fact anyway. So, yeah. I tell you, we're living in a weird fucking time, man. Weird fucking time. I never harken back to the past. I'm one of these people that lives in the now. I live in the moment. I live in the present. I try to not even think about the past. I try to put myself 100% entirely into the present. I'm devoted to this moment in time, and that's it. No others. But when I see weird stuff like I saw today, I said to myself, would that fly in the 80s? We didn't have that in the 80s. 70s either. This is some weird crap. So I'm on the train today, and I see some broad. I don't know, maybe in her 20s. And I guess she's trying to look trendy or cool because she's wearing what looks to me to be a men's pinstripe jacket. It's a good look, I think. It needs to come back. For those of you men out there who are considering getting a suit, I suggest pinstripes. Subtle pinstripes, okay? Not like a fucking clown like big bars and shit. But anyway, she had a nice, well, I don't know about nice, but it was a pinstripe. I like the pattern anyway. The color contrast between the pinstripe and it was a very subtle pinstripe. Those are the best kind. And black men's jacket. Yeah, okay. Sure, why not? You know, women have been dressing like men for ages now anyway. They don't even know what a fucking dress is anymore. Why not? She's wearing a men's jacket. Black pinstripe. Then I looked up. I was like, what the fuck? She get teleportation technology? She vanished. Now, I was looking down for a second, but, you know, I'm not that lacking in awareness. I mean, I know what's going on in my fucking environment. Did something move? Was that a squirrel? Did it not fall from that tree? I mean, I'm pretty fucking aware. I have pretty good situational awareness. So I was like, what the fuck? Did aliens beam her up? No, it was her. She was standing right there. She just slightly turned, and it turned out on the other side, it was a gray, plain jacket. I was like, what the fuck? Did she change jackets? No, it's the same jacket. It had two different halves. Yeah, like Two-Face, except for a jacket. I was like, what? What is this? So the one half was black pinstripe, and then the other half was just plain matte gray. I was like, I've never... Okay, now, yeah, this happens enough that I need to stop saying it. It's like, okay, now I've seen everything. No, you really haven't seen everything. I've seen some weird shit. I've seen monkeys riding bicycles, man. I've seen monkeys playing basketball. It's weird, little tiny basketball, and they're able to fucking bounce it. That's why I said, you know, monkeys could wait tables, you know. Solve that whole fucking issue with the 213 fucking minimum wage. Oh, we gotta pay waiters and waitresses $15 an hour. Just hire monkeys. They'll work for food. Yeah, just like those homeless bums that hold up the signs and say, we'll work for food, but they never do. They just want you to feel sorry for them and give them some money so they can go buy some Thunderbird, $3 bottle of wine at the local liquor store. Oh, fuck me. I've seen a lot of weird shit, man. A lot of weird shit, but this, good Lord, this takes the cake. Well, not really, but it's the latest in another round of wanky shit I've seen. I wanted to say to her, what the hell are you doing wearing a jacket of multiple colors? But she didn't speak English. Of course. But, probably not. Yeah. I was like, why? Where do you even buy a jacket that has multiple, there's just two sides? She must have made it herself. She's probably one of these hipster, doofus, trendy, fucking young kids. Wants to look cool, wants to look different, wants to look original. I really don't have anything going on, personally. Kind of a plain Jane human being. There's not much to me. But I want to set myself apart somehow. How can I do that? How can I look different, feel special, feel unique, feel like an individual who's individuated myself from others? Oh, light bulb goes off. I'll fucking sew a jacket with two different halves. Yeah, that's real original. You really set yourself apart there, Pinhead. You don't look like a fucking idiot. Hey. These young people. Young, early 20s. Yeah, stupid. Probably a feminist. It always goes one way, doesn't it? First, women start wearing pants. They get rid of the dresses. Now they're wearing men's coats, jackets. Now they're wearing men's jackets that are two different halves. It's bizarre, man. So bizarre. God. What's next? Pants with different halves? I wouldn't have been surprised if I saw the matching pants, but the gray was on the other side. So you got black hair, same side, gray on the bottom, and then gray here, and then black on the other side. So odd. So fucking odd. I just looked at her for a while, and I looked at the jacket, and I wanted to be very clear and obvious about what I was doing, looking left, right, and that's probably what she wants, attention. But she looked uncomfortable from the attention, and she didn't acknowledge my attention, but that's probably it. Women, they always want attention. I predict this will be the new fashion trend. Side clothing. You got one shirt on this side and a totally different shirt on the other. Oh, God. Save me, Lord. Bizarre, yeah. This was all I was going to. I had to do some shopping. Remember I said I was going to maybe get a new cooling tower for my computer. I got it. Jesus, this thing's heavy. Got this thing here. It's solid copper, I think. Well, I was very surprised, and it weighs like twice as much as my old tower. It's just really crazy, and it's got three. My old tower only has two. These are copper pipes, and they meet at the bottom, and touch the processor, and then that carries the heat up into the tower. Well, my old one only has two. And it's just I guess it's a different metal. This is pure copper. It weighs a ton, by the way, compared to the old one. So I'll install that to see if it helps. By the way, I found out that the temperatures of my computer aren't even hot. Like the inside of my case is 36C and my processor is 40C. I thought ooh, that's hot. Yeah, because before it was 38. Before the processor was 38. So maybe this will bring it down a couple degrees, but it turns out that's not very hot. If you know anything about gaming, consoles, or, computers in general, that's actually a processor running quite cool. But I don't know anything apparently, so, yeah. Anyway, I'll install this because, I bought it. Might as well, even though my processor's not really running hot. All right, so that's pretty much it for my day other than work. So let's see what we got to talk about. All right. Oh, no. Things are always changing, man. Always changing. Oh, boy. Any of you out there alive in the 80s, the 70s? 70s were good, man. I don't remember enough about the 60s, but the music was really fucking good. By the way, those of you out there who think you're aficionados of music, you like music, I suggest you check out 60s music. 70s music, meh, too much disco. I wasn't a big fan of the 70s music. Didn't like all the, disco music. Disco was big in the 70s, But the 80s, the 80s was a great fucking decade, baby. If you want to check out the best music. So the 60s and the 80s had the best. Leave the 70s. Again, too much fucking disco. Anyway, you should check those out. But man, that wouldn't have flown in the 80s, baby. I mean, people would wear some weird shit in the 80s, but, the fucking spiked hair and the mohawk, but not two half clothes. Not two half clothing, okay? Oh man. All right, let's move on. All right. First story. I have a girl brain, but a boy body. Sure you do. At this point, nothing surprises me. Two half jackets, girl brain and boy body, whatever. Okay. This is what they want, do they want this kind of apathy? You hear shit like this, it's like, okay. Instead of going, what the fuck you talking about, nut job? Get your ass in that fucking van and let him take you to the fucking insane asylum and throw you in a rubber room, which is where you belong. That's the reaction you need. I need more coffee to have that reaction, though. With radical sex ed around every corner, including with first graders, now this dangerous excuse for story time. It's no wonder that U.S. homeschooling is in the middle of its biggest surge in 20 years. I guess it's too bad that the global elites introduce feminism into the mix, making women think that they have to go get meaningless jobs, pushing paper around a desk to fulfill themselves instead of having kids and getting married. Because now they've so flooded the job market and reduced wages that everybody and their mother has to work to make a living. So most parents can't stay home with their kids. And so the state gets them and they get to indoctrinate them in those indoctrination centers that are schools. There's no education going on up in that motherfucker, I tell you that. It looked like your typical reading class. Dozens of kindergarten students sat cross-legged on the floor, watching their teacher turn to the first page. It didn't take long for the 5-year-olds to realize this is no ordinary children's book. I have a girl brain but a boy body. They're reading this to kindergartners. This harkens back to the fucking transgender story hour with the convicted pedo. Oh, God. Miss McBride started, this is called transgender. I was born this way. Miss McBride, fuck you. Thanks to a new partnership between two radically liberal forces, the National Education Association and Human Rights Campaign, there's no telling how many elementary school students heard the exact same message in their classrooms. Trying to read fast, get through this crap. That's because Monday was Read Across America Day, and for the first time, the country's biggest LGBT. What happened to the Q? Extremists were official sponsors. How are they getting into the schools? I couldn't get into a school if my life depended on it. They got security left and right. I'm a white man. But apparently, these freaks can walk in unimpeded. The NEA, which has been a satellite office for the far left wing of the Democratic Party for years, insisted that it was urgent to ally with HRC now that the president has rolled back Barack Obama's bathroom mandate. People bank their whole lives and view of the world on what bathroom they can use. The Trump administration has been openly hostile. Yeah, because we won't let trannies use the bathroom opposite of that which they have, been born as, right? Said NEA President Lily Garcia. Is Lily a man or a woman, I wonder? Whether or not you're a transgender soldier or a transgender little boy or girl, it's more important than ever before that we speak out. Yeah, because you're such a huge percent of the population, right? 0.2%, 1/10%. If we didn't have people running around aggrandizing transgenderism and destigmatizing it and essentially encouraging young boys to become transgender because there's so many advantages to being a woman and demonizing men, that has increased the numbers of people who are so-called transgender. But in reality, if you don't encourage this shit, you're going to have like 1/10 of the population. Oh, yeah, I should cater to the 1/10 of the population. I should bend over backwards for you. Transgender soldier, get out of here. You got mental problems. I don't want you in my combat unit with a gun, okay? Sorry. In the Washington Post article about this new initiative, no one explains whether parents were warned. Probably not. They don't think they have to warn parents. When those kids are with us, they're ours. That's the way that the teachers see it. Judging by both organizations' track record, it's safe to assume they weren't. After all, this is exactly the kind of outrageous indoctrination that caused millions of parents to pull their kids out of school and either move them to Christian campuses or teach them at home. Teaching at home is not an option for most people, which was kind of the whole point of feminism. Oh boy. With radical sex ed, what? Okay, wait, what is this? All right, so encouraging kids to accept, or worse, live out this kind of genderlessness is not only destructive, it's what the American College of Pediatrics calls child abuse. Yeah, because it's teaching people to not recognize reality for what it is. By the way, most liberalism and progressivism taught the kids as child abuse because it teaches kids to essentially ignore reality and go with feelings over facts. I consider that abuse. What an otherwise healthy biological boy believes. Oh, when an otherwise healthy biological boy believes he's a girl, or an otherwise healthy biological girl believes she's a boy. Less likely because there's no advantages to being a man over being a woman. An objective psychological problem exists that lies in the mind, not the body, and it should be treated as such. The American College of Pediatricians warns. Meanwhile, gender dysphoria has been removed from the DSMV. Yeah, because, mental health practitioners are not in any way, shape, or form political agents of change. Oh, no. Not to mention, the physicians go on that this type of confusion is a passing phase. Yeah, because kids are impressionable. As many as 98% of gender-confused boys and 88% of gender-confused girls eventually accept their biological sex after naturally passing through puberty. The left doesn't want that. We need more freakos for the left's freak show. For years, LGBT activists wanted to keep the goal of luring children into sexual confusion under wraps. Now that they've hoodwinked a lot of the country on their agenda, these extremists no longer have to hide. That's right. Has anybody out there seen the transgender story time, by the way? It's some wacky shit. You've got what looks like an alien from some far-off planet, like one of those... It actually makes me think of the really bad makeup and the bad costumes and shit of the old Star Trek from the late 60s. Oh, my God, that was bad. Want to make an alien? Just slightly upturn his eyebrows that you have the evil kid. It's some pointed ears, all right. Minus the pointed ears. Yeah, transgender people reading in these story times look like freaks out of the old Star Trek. As the head of the Toronto Publishing Company famously said, I have come to indoctrinate your children, and I'm not a bit sorry. It's up to vigilant parents to make sure they don't succeed. In fact, they're increasingly bold, even boastful about their real intentions of recruiting kids. Yeah. You got to protect your kids. They want to get them when they're young. I mean, hell, kid sees Barney on TV. There was a time when Barney was big. Wasn't he the big purple fucking dinosaur? He would dance around, and the kids would dance, and they would say they were Barney. Kids are fucking dumb. They have low IQs, okay? Really low IQs, all right? IQ goes up as you get older, but these kids pre-10, I mean, they're not too bright. Easily impressionable, right? Get it while they're young. Maybe we could turn them into gays or trannies who are confused, and then we can get that ass. Ooh, yeah. Put them in my tickler file. Let's increase the number of gays and lesbos out there, because, there's not enough of us. We want more asses to vandalize. Woohoo! Yeah. This is some sick shit, man. These people are sick. I know that those of you out there who live in Bizarro Universe, La La Land, like to normalize these people, the gays, the lesbians. You even got the left now trying to normalize pedophilia and say it's on the same level as homos. All these people are sick, okay? They're all sick. They're all mentally deranged. They all have varying levels of mental problems, okay? This, I was burned that way, bullshit! There's always some kind of occurrence in their youth, traumatic or otherwise, depending on the age and how impressionable they are, that send them down the wrong path. Otherwise, they'd be normal. What is normal? There's no such thing as normal. Yeah, that's leftism. That's progressivism. That's postmodernism, okay? There's no normal. There is. I'm so sorry, but there's normal. You might not want to adhere to what you think is normal because, that's traditional, and we got to get rid of what's traditional. Yeah, that's, again, more postmodernism. But trust me, there is such a thing as normal. This ain't it, okay? Yeah. Keep your kids away from this stuff. If you're... they don't even tell the parents because to them it's normal, right? Oh, no, we shouldn't have to tell the parents. What, do we have to contact the parents and get an okay from them every time we teach the kids something new? When I teach the kids about black history, when I teach the kids about this or that, I don't have to contact the parents. That's like saying there's something wrong or odd or abnormal about this stuff. And that's not right. I should be able to teach them this stuff the same way that I teach them everything else I teach them, and I don't have to get the parents' approval for that. Yeah. You see how these people think? That's how they think. All right, let's move on. Freaky shit. Freaky shit. Maybe that broad I saw wearing the duo jacket was a tranny too. She self-identifies as a man with bipolar disorder, and she's represented by her double-sided jacket. Oh, good Lord. We're drowning in mental illness, and it's being celebrated as a strength. All right, this next one's good. This is good. And this kind of nonsense, by the way, which is part of feminism, all right? Feminism's a whole part of this intersectional nonsense. This is why this next story is relevant. Young men are giving up on marriage. Women aren't women anymore. You're goddamn right. Now, my mother was not a stay-at-home mom. Well, she was in the early years, actually. She was. When I got to about 8, my brother was 11. Then she started working because, well, we no longer had all the perks. See, my father was a military man, so he was in the Marines for like 20 years. And she got a lot of nice perks. Got to live in many different places all over the world. But once you get out of the military, a lot of those perks disappeared. For example, when you're in the military, they give you free housing, okay? And you have free medical, health care, all that. I mean, it's a pretty good gig if you don't get your head shot off, right? One of the many benefits of being a man. But once we were out, yeah, cost of living went up. So, as was the intent of the global elites and a wonderful government, their puppets. She had to go out and work. And so, she'd never really acted like a traditional Wayman either, which is probably why she was so miserable her entire life. Oh well, it's over now. So, fewer young men in the U.S. want to get married than ever, while the desire for marriage is rising among young women. Yeah, because they're finding out feminism is just a denial of reality. They actually do want and need men. According to the Pew Research Center, Pew recently found that the number of women 18 to 34 saying that having a successful marriage is one of the most important things rose from 28% to 37% since 1997. 1997 was a big feminist decade, the 90s. Yeah. It's been increasing for a while, and then it started to drop off after 2010, and now, that women have become uber feminist, it's just scaring off men so much. They're starting to realize, uh-oh, I bet on the wrong horse. The number of young adult men saying the same thing dropped from 35% to 29%. See, so there was still parity between men and women, even in the 90s, because men still hadn't given up on women. Most men were still a bunch of simps and pussies and chasing the poon. Now they're starting to wake up. I bet you these numbers will have decreased even further come, what is this, 1997, 2017. So let's see in another 10 years. I wonder what they are now, actually. This is these are old numbers. Dropped from 35% to 29% in the same time period. 6% drop. Uh-oh, ladies. You might have to pay for your own meals. Pew's findings have caught the attention of one U.S. writer who maintains that feminism, and you'll have heard of this woman, and I know who she is now. I think she wrote that book, Men on Strike. She might be the real deal. I usually say that women who are advocates for anti-feminism are totally full of shit, that they're not really... Of course, she's a feminist, too, because she believes in equality for men and women in terms of pretty much everything, I'm sure, and the right to vote as well, so, So one U.S. writer who maintains that feminism, deeply entrenched in every segment of the culture, has created an environment in which young men find it more beneficial to simply opt out of the coupledom entirely. By the way, you might have the image of Camille Paglia thundering through your head at this point. She's not an anti-feminist. In fact, she's a tranny. She identifies as transsexual. She's a nut. She's a nut job. Have you ever heard her talk? She's out of her fucking mind. She's whacked out of her fucking brain. Probably on massive amounts of fucking dope and shit. She's got something wrong with her fucking brain, man. I'm a transsexual. Probably on Vicodin, whatever, all their painkillers she can get her hands on. She's got a weird tic and facial tic and weird mannerisms. There's something off with that broad, okay? She's a tranny. She's a lesbo. Trust me, she's not anti-feminist. Not even close. You listen to that Camille Paglia, you're out of your fucking mind. Ignore that bitch. Trust me. Go do your own research. She's a lesbian, tranny, fag, feminist. She's not anti-feminist. Anyway, Suzanne Finker's article, The War on Men, which appeared on the website of Fox News in late November, has become a lodestone for feminist writers who have attacked feminist writers. Oxymoron there. They're activists, nothing more. Activists who have attacked her position that the institution of marriage is threatened, not enhanced by the supposed gains of the feminist movement over the last 50 years. Yeah. Why do you think women are running around saying, right, where have all the good men gone? Is a question much talked about lately in the secular media. Venker says, but her answer, backed up by statistics, not feelings, statistics which, threaten your feelings so you people choose to ignore them, which is why that's child abuse when you teach that to kids. The denial of reality is not the liking to the liking of the mainstream commentators influenced by feminism, which is all of them pretty much. She points out that for the first time in U.S. history, the number of women in the workforce has surpassed the number of men, right? I've talked about this before. I think it's at like 53% women, while more women than men are acquiring university degrees. I think that the last time they looked at the numbers, it was 65%, but I believe that as of today, it's up to 70%. So only 30% of people in university are men. We're not getting fucked in the ass with our pants on and no lube. Oh, no. Yeah. The problem, what's the problem? Well, this new phenomenon has changed the dance between men and women, Venker wrote, with feminism pushing them out of their traditional role of breadwinner. Feminism, postmodernism, attack that which is considered traditional. Protector and provider, and divorce laws increasingly creating a dangerously precarious financial prospect for the men. Cut loose from marriage, men are simply no longer finding any benefit in it. And in turn, turning to things like nihilism and seeing no meaning in life because, that stock meaning that has been provided to most men by marriage is now out the fucking window. As a writer and researcher into the trends of marriage and relationships, Venker said she's accidentally stumbled upon a subculture of men who say in no uncertain terms that they're never getting married. You're looking at one of them, okay? I had two opportunities in my life to get married, and I passed up both because, as much as these women were more like traditional women than the majority of women today, they weren't enough like them, okay? And it just wouldn't have worked. When I asked them why, the answer is always the same. Women aren't women anymore. Bingo! Feminism, which teaches women to think of men as the enemy, has made women angry and defensive, though often unknowingly. Yeah. That's that false consciousness. That's the actual false consciousness. Yeah, that Marx talked about. If you don't think you is oppressed, you're suffering from false consciousness. There's always something, right? To reinforce that idea of oppression. You got to think you're oppressed. If you don't think you're oppressed, you had a false consciousness introduced into your mind. Meanwhile, I'm trying to introduce an actual false consciousness to get you to believe you're oppressed when you're actually not. Yeah. Oh, you brilliant scumbag loser, you Marx. If only you turned your energy to something more useful, like the study of economics or how the world works or something. Done something, made something of use. That's all feminism is. It's just Marxism turned into the cultural main. That's all. It's total bullshit. Anybody that believes in feminism or follows Marx's teachings is a total moron because you're trying to model your life after a guy who was a loser. You're trying to model your life. You're trying to essentially apply a moral code, all right? Marx was a moralist, all right? You have to look at the foundation of Marx and what he was. He was a self-proclaimed moralist. Well, you got to look at the morals of Marx and how they affected his life if you really want to apply his moral view of the world and make that reality. He was a bum. He was a loser. He never had a real job, ever. He wrote some books. They were laughed at in his time. He didn't make money. He took loans from his wife's family. He got money from his parents' family. He stole from his best friend. He might as well have, He was like the biggest Kramer on earth, the biggest fucking mooch. His friend Engels had a fucking factory that I think had 800 pounds of profit a year, and I think Engels gave 500 of that to Marx a year or something to raise his kids. I mean, this fucking guy was the biggest mooch loser on the planet. I hate capitalism. Hey, Engels, you got some capitalistic endeavors going on. Can you give me some money from your evil capitalism? Because, really socialism can't work without capitalism. That's why fucking Venezuela is collapsing, because there's no more capitalism to hold it up. They're trying to get it to work with their oil, but it turns out people who really don't like business that much and don't want to do the work to understand how the world works or how business works or be good business people, they can't run a business. So they run it into the fucking ground after they go into politics to get the power to take all that shit over. Yeah. So, yeah, Marx was a moron. Don't follow him. He was an idiot. Yeah. Now the men have nowhere to go. It is precisely this dynamic, women good, men bad, that has destroyed the relationship between the sexes. Yet somehow men are still to blame when love goes awry. Well, of course, because that's feminism. Men are always to blame. It's an easy out. It's a nice scapegoat, you know? It plays into women's natural, inclination to not take responsibility for their mistakes. Women already lack accountability. They're kind of like children. They very rarely ever want to take responsibility for their actions. I mean, I've seen this played out time and time again with women in my life. I could count on one hand the amount of times that women in my life have apologized or admitted their failings and wrongdoings. Hell, I don't think my mother in her entire life ever apologized. Yeah, I think she in her entire life never did anything wrong. She did a boatload, but never took responsibility. And the women that I've dated and gone out with, I don't think, have any of them apologized for anything they did? I mean, very rarely. Women don't like to take responsibility. So you got a ready-made ideology that just gives them everything in terms of, how they perceive the world, gives them ready-made answers. They don't have to think for themselves. And it also teaches that men are always to blame. You're never accountable. Whoa, where do I sign up for that? Sounds good. It's good for women, but only in the short term. It really hurts them in the long term, but, they don't think too far ahead anyway. So, that requires critical thinking. Which is what the men are good for, which is what the men did for them when they had men. But we don't have men anymore. Feminism and the sexual revolution have simply made marriage obsolete for women. No, it's not obsolete for women, okay? As a social and economic refuge. But this is a situation that should not be celebrated by should not be celebrated by feminists, Vanker says. It's only short-term obsolescence, okay? The government cannot continue to be the man forever. It'll eventually run out of money, and it already has. It's just being held up by massive debt, something like $150 trillion in unfunded liabilities in America alone, and $22 trillion in on-the-books debt. That's unsustainable. Unsustainable. It's the women who lose. Not only are they saddled with the consequences of sex by dismissing male nature, they're forever seeking a balanced life. The fact is, women need men's linear career goals and their ability to think ahead in a linear fashion. They need men to pick up the slack at the office in order to live a balanced life that they seek. Right. But women want to be men now. That's really what it is. They're constantly striving to be more masculine and to be men, meanwhile demonizing masculinity. You see what's going on is they want to remove the competition, okay? So make men more feminine, make them weaker, make them less likely to compete, make them less likely to want to compete against the woman, make them more, self-deprecating, make them weaker, make them more passive, more likely to not want to challenge a woman. And then the women can get ahead and get the jobs that men get. And meanwhile, men will fall ever further behind. And that's what you see happening right now. Again, 70% of people in college are women. There's more women in the workforce than men. That should oh my God. That fact right there should make your eyes bug out of your fucking head. But nobody bats an eye. Nobody bats an eye because it's the new normal, right? Tranny story time. Okay. Pedos teaching kids. Whatever. People wearing two-sided fucking jackets. One side's gray, one side's pinstripe. Whatever. Yeah, everything's acceptable, right? Nothing's out of bounds. Let's just have a wild sex orgy right on the train because, whoa. It's 2019, as Trudeau says. Good Lord. A cross-section of data from the Pew Research Center for the last months of 2012 shows the alarming trends for marriage and childbearing in the U.S. One report published in mid-December said that the latest census data showed barely half of all adults in the United States are currently married, a record low. Look, I'm not against marriage per se. My problem is that men get the short end of the stick, okay? I think that men opting out, it needs to continue because that's the only way that you're going to right. Okay, you're going to right this tilting train that's about to fall off the fucking tracks and kill everybody on board. The train right now is going a bridge, going around a fucking bend, and it's leaning to the right, and it's going to fall off, okay? We have to right it, all right? We have to right it. That's good. That's good that men are not getting married. They have to continue that trend. Now it needs to be barely a quarter. It needs to go up to barely a quarter. It needs to go up to almost none because these women treat men like crap. Treat men like crap, use them, abuse them, and toss them aside. Things need to change. Things need to change so that women will realize the error of their ways, and that then policy will change. When things start getting hard for the women, then they themselves will want to change back to a more traditional model, because they'll no longer be benefiting from the current state of affairs. Since 1960, the number of married adults has decreased from 72% to 51%. I should be lower, I think, with this, what horrible creatures women have become with this feminism. I'm surprised it's 51. I'm surprised it's that high. And the number of new marriages in the U.S. declined by 5% between 2009 and 2010. Okay, now that's big. In 1 year, a 5% decline. Imagine that trend continuing. That's a lot. So 2009 to now, that'd be like a 50% decrease if that trend has continued since then. Of course, probably nobody's looked into that, because when they saw those numbers, their eyes bugged out of their head. These people at this Pew Research, they went, let's not look at that again, okay? We don't want people to realize how bad the situation is and how much feminism has fucked shit up. Moreover, the median age at first marriage continues to rise. Yeah, with women getting married the first time at 26.5 years, admitted 8.7. The declines in marriage are most dramatic among young adults. Just 20% of those aged 18 to 29 are married. Yeah, don't get married at 18, okay? That might have been okay when people had a 40-year lifespan, or they lived to be 35, 40, okay? And they spent their whole life swinging a hoe and a pickaxe and shit, but these days, nah. Wait until your mid-20s, okay? Yeah, 25 minimum, compared with 59% in 1960. Just 20% 18 to 29 today are married, compared to around 60% in 1960. That's a big drop-off. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. You know that CIA, shills of the global elite were behind the push toward feminism, right? The global elites, they wanted more tax chattel, right? Introduce more tax chattel into the marketplace, get more workers for the same money, and then you get to tax two people instead of one. It was essentially to increase tax revenue. That wasn't the only reason. They also wanted to get a hold of your kids, right? Break up the family, have more control over everybody in their the societies which they want to run. Their wonderful globalist utopia. Yeah, it ain't going to be a utopia for anybody but them. Moreover, the link between marriage and child rearing has become disconnected in the minds of so-called millennial generation. Those between... I want somebody to tell me when this millennial generation starts. I was talking to some kid the other day online, and I immediately identified him as one of these millennials. He is somebody in his early 20s, but what year does that actually begin? I'm going to have to do some research. Like, who gets the... I've heard different numbers. Some people are telling me 2000. Some people are telling me 1997. People born in 97 are millennials. People born in 2000 are millennials. Which numbers are right? I can identify them by their nihilistic, relativistic, postmodernistic view of the world. They're easy to spot. Of course, there's a lot of old hippies out there, too, that have this mindset that are definitely not millennials. No! Yeah, they're baby boomers. Same difference, really. Yeah. Childbearing has become disconnected in the minds of so-called millennial generation, those between 18 and 29. Okay. While 52% of millennials say being a good parent is one of the most important things in life, just 30% say the same thing about having a successful marriage. So they're more concerned about being successful parents than having a successful marriage, not realizing, because, they haven't been taught how reality works, that a successful marriage is key to having and raising good kids. There's a disconnect, all right. The gap of 22 percentage points between the value millennials place on parenthood over marriage was just 7 points in 1997. Yeah, people were still a little more grounded. Postmodernism, relativism hadn't made quite the amount of progress it's made now, which is especially made under Obama, the scum of the earth that he is. The research found that millennials, many of whom are the children of divorce and single parenthood themselves, are also less likely than their elders to say that a child needs both a father and a mother at home, right? Because they've been taught, that that's not the case, right? Their ideology teaches that's not necessary. You go, girl! Strong women! I don't need no man! Which means, you don't need a man to raise a kid. That such single parenthood and unmarried couple parenthood are bad for society. Which they are. And we're seeing the fruits of that now. with these dopey kids who have never been given any guidance in their life. They've never had the logic, the reason, the critical thinking, as this woman said, the linear directionality of men to guide people throughout their life and give them a goal, a directionality to their lives. They never had that. Never had that. So, they're adrift. They're nihilistic. Where's the meaning? There's no meaning. Yeah, you got a whole generation of nihilists running around, and people think that's fine. That's fine. Nihilism's wonderful, really. Do a little research. You'll find it's not wonderful at all. It's quite dangerous, actually, to have people running around and think there's no meaning to life. Because if you think there's no meaning to life, anything goes. Anything's fair game. Yeah, I think that Satanists are nihilists. You ought to hear these people. They're all for everything. You don't harm anybody else. Do whatever you want. Of course, harm, there's different levels of harm. There's harm that you may not see in the moment, but that's a very narrow, very, very narrow Overton window. Extremely narrow. Nihilism. All right, let's move on, shall we? Just something a little more lighthearted. Forgive me. Allergies. All right. This is funny. This is a funny story. All right. And I even have a picture, so that should make some of you happy. Those of you that like pictures. All right. So, ungrateful woman publicly shames her fiance. This is your perfect example of what's going on in society. Women want to find themselves men. And they don't just want to find themselves men. They want to find themselves good men. And they're shaming their fiancés in public. Gee, I wonder why men are going the wrong way. Yeah, it's a mystery. For proposing with, get this, his grandma's ugly ring. What? Oh, man. I remember one broad I bought a gift, and it wasn't good enough, and so I dumped her. I think it was a birthday or something. I don't remember what, and she didn't like it. I was like, bye. And it was a moderately serious relationship. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, you're one of those. See ya, wouldn't want to be ya. So, yeah, ungrateful. Ungrateful. 1 second. I have to... One moment. I'll be right back. All right. I had the air conditioner turned up too high. Okay, so yeah, she shames her fiance. Ugly ring. It took just about everything in me not to laugh. Okay, sweetheart, if I was dating you, I'd have dumped you immediately. And again, I already did this. Yeah, what kind of pussy would stay with a woman who essentially shames him in public and scoffs at a gift? I don't have to give you a goddamn thing. How about I give you a licorice stick? How about I tie up a licorice stick into a ring? Here you go. Oh, no, it's got to be worth a lot so that when I divorce you, I can pawn it. I can hawk it for some good cash to restart my life in addition to the house I'll steal and all the property and your money. A woman publicly belittled her fiancé for proposing to her with his grandmother's ring. See, I would think that would have more meaning. He gave you his grandmother's ring. Isn't that, don't you appreciate the sentiment? Don't you like that he would do that he would care enough about you to give you a family heirloom? No! The diamonds are too small! And she was subsequently taken down a peg on Reddit Wednesday. A lot more of these stories I read seem to come from Reddit or have opinions from Reddit instead of Twitter and Facebook or something, although Facebook is so passé. That's going out, by the way. I hear that there's a lot of antitrust legislation going on, that Facebook might be broken up. Same with Twitter. Fingers crossed. In a Facebook post, the unidentified woman shared that her boyfriend... Oh, she's on Facebook. Oh, God. Finally, maybe I'll go find her and attack her. Maybe I'll go find her and throw some shade her way, maybe. I don't see her name here, though, but it shouldn't be hard to find her. She shared that her boyfriend finally asked her to marry him. You couldn't ask him? Doesn't your wonderful feminism teach you that men and women are equal? And that you're supposed to become a man while he's supposed to become a big pussy, which apparently he has because he's still with you after you acted this way? No! No! Because if I would ask him, that would be risking rejection and giving him all the power. I want the hand. I don't want him to have any hand. If you don't know the reference I'm making, you're not old. So, yeah. I got to keep the power. I got to keep the pussy power. I got to keep the hand power. I got to keep control of the situation. That's what it means when you talk about hand. I have no hand. He has no power in the relationship. And that's mainly what it is about with women. They want to have the power. They're like entitled, spoiled little children. So anyway, while she was apparently satisfied with that development, the ring just didn't meet her expectations. He pulled it out of his pocket and it took just about everything in me not to laugh. If I would have seen you go, bye, I might have been with you for 2 years. I'm out the fucking door. See, you guys out there, you need to have more self-esteem and self-respect. I don't care if you invested 5 years with some broad. The moment that she acts that way, you are seeing a veneer drop and you are being presented with the real her. You want to live the next 40 years with a woman who laughs, who can barely contain her just humor at the fact that you're giving her such a crappy gift, just her horrible attitude. I mean, showing that side to her, I would be gone. I would be gone because she has that side. She can barely control it. So I know that she is putting on an act to get me to give her a ring. And now I give her a ring. She don't like it. Oh, I could barely hold in my girth, my mirth, excuse me. Maybe it's girth too. Maybe she's wearing a fucking girdle. Who knows? Could be a fatty. One of these self-entitled fatties who thinks that she still deserves a good man even though she has to wear a girdle. Others are coming back into style, by the way. Yeah. I wonder why. That's a big surprise, huh? Not to laugh and question whether this was real life or not. Laugh my ass off, she said. LMAO. Oh, God. Yeah, millennial. Eventually, though, the woman found the strength to tolerate the gift. Oh, how magnanimous of you. You found the strength to tolerate a gift. Oh, boy. You owed jack shit, sweetheart. Nobody owes you anything. By the way, why don't you give him a ring in return? No. I'm entitled, not him. So she eventually found the strength to tolerate the gift, she said. Oh, is that her exact language? Really? Wow. You need to run, man. I got to find this dude on Facebook. I got to try to find him and warn him. Because I'll tell you what, he's got to be all over her profile, right? So I got to find him and warn this guy. I got to warn him. This guy has to be warned. Do not marry this broad. She's an uber feminist. She's a man hater, okay? She's entitled. She just wants your money. She just wants your resources. She just wants somebody to take care of her. You're nothing to her but a wallet, pal. I can tell that from here. She noted that it was his grandmother's ring and the pearl is my birthstone. And I think that's the only reason I've been able to tolerate it. She added laughing and crying emojis. So you're seeing the real her, right? And then she gets a bunch of backlash and then she modifies and adapts and changes her behavior in line with the backlash she's getting. And then she starts to act kind of contrite. Yeah. That's only because she's getting stimuli from outside, and so she, starts acting, right? So she stops getting attacked, but the real her is still there. And I don't like this real her. Yikes. So commentators on the trashy subreddit were appalled by the woman's behavior, as they should be. And by the way, has anybody else out there noticed that mainstream media is referring to Reddit posts ever more and less to Twitter posts? It's just something to note. Thought it was interesting. Deeming her trashy material. People are really trash, said Chicago Dog Mom 607. Many felt that she should show a little gratitude. I'll show you the picture of the ring, by the way. I don't see a problem with it. She's lucky enough to have a man that loves her enough to want to marry her. Yeah, I mean, she's really entitled. And you'll see why. You'll see the picture of her. And you'll see why he's tolerating her. By the way, guys, pretty faces fade. As Judge Judy said, one of the very few women out there that is actually worth listening to. Beauty fades, but dumb is forever. Yeah. This woman's beauty is going to fade, and then you're going to be left with this ugly, nasty, melted wax, shriveled up looking crypt keeper thing with a dried out cooch who's angry and bitter. That her beauty is gone, her sexual marketplace value is gone, and all that's left is this objectionable human being who you saw just a glimmer of before, but that's all she'll be then. That's all she'll be then, because she's not going to then be fighting. She's not going to be fighting anymore to get what you've got. She's already got it and had it for a while, and you're not going anywhere. So you're going to get to live with this 24/7. You saw a little glimpse. Yeah, in your later years, that glimpse is going to widen to 24/7. Oh, boy. Sounds great. Yeah, she's lucky enough to have anybody. I don't care what she looks like. So she's lucky enough to find a man who wants to marry her and spend the rest of his life with her. Quit complaining about the ring and just be grateful and happy. She can't be. She's a feminist. Others urge the man to get out of the engagement while he still could. Yeah, get out. You've just seen the real her. You've just seen the real her. If you want to see the real person, there's a number of ways. One, get somebody drunk as a motherfucker, okay? Now, I've only been drunk, I think, twice in my life, and I don't change. I am the most genuine human being you're going to fucking meet. I am so real. I mean, I'm the most honest human on earth. I don't lie, ever, which is sometimes a problem. I'll either keep my mouth shut because I don't lie, or if I do speak, I don't lie. So that can get you in trouble, right? That can get you in trouble. I mean, little white lies. Yeah, you look fine. She asks if she looks fat. You don't want to stumble into that minefield, okay? That's acceptable, okay? But actually, no. I mean, I've told the woman, yeah, you look fat. See, it gets me in trouble. But anyway, yeah. I mean, by the way, if a woman asks that, she already knows she looks fat. Word to the wise if you don't already know. But if you don't already know that, then you're not wise. I never understood that saying. A word to the wise. If you don't know what I'm saying to you, you're not wise. So why would it be a word to the wise? I never got that. Anyway, yeah. Dude, don't look back. Just get out, advised Sausage Deluxe. Some of the names on Reddit are pretty weird. Another contingent of Redditors defended the woman feminist, saying the man had picked the wrong ring. The ring is butt ugly. I don't blame her. Cat Lady 666. You got no man, bitch. You don't know anything about the relations between men and women. And by the way, you have no man. Yeah. You have no man because you have this view. You have this opinion. You have this same kind of entitlement, but without the looks this broad has. It's partly his fault for not gauging her reaction in her wants. Yeah, because, we're supposed to be mind readers. An engagement ring is something they will have for a while, and it's important to actually know what kind of style your future wife would want. They're not going to have it for that long. Once they get divorced, again, it's going to go right into the pawn shop, okay? However, a lot of people split their difference, faulting the woman for disliking the ring, but for complaining about it on social media. Oh, they're not faulting her for disliking it, just for complaining. She and the ring deserve each other, they said. The only thing tackier than that ring is this woman, said, weird name. I guess she deserved it in the end. Obnoxious brides, moms, and couples have become the staples of the social media diet, as has been outraged about them. Well, what do you want? I mean, you're going to make this stuff news. I'm going to talk about it. It's that simple. Very interesting, though. Let's take a look at this ring. Yeah, I only got a passing look at it. Let's see what it looks like. Where is it? Oh, okay, I got to scroll up. All right. What the hell is the ring? I don't see it. One second. Oh, here it is. All right. Oh, it's a pearl. Oh. Ooh, pearls! Boo! Hiss! Women don't like pearls because they don't have a lot of value. Some pearls do. Not cultured ones, but real pearls can be very valuable. It depends. Let me move this over and see what she looks like. Is that her? Or is that just some stock photo? I know that's the ring, but if that's her, then I think it's just a stock photo maybe. But if that's her, then now we know why he's putting up with her. Good-looking broad, blonde hair, blue eyes. The teeth are even perfect, which leads me to believe this is some kind of stock photo from a model or something. But if that's her, okay. And now we know why he's putting up with her bullshit. But guys, it's not worth it. The juice ain't worth the squeeze, okay? It's like squeezing juice out of rotten fruit. And it might taste good when you drink it, but then you get sick and you have the runs for 3 days. So, no, in the long run, you need to pass on that, okay? But yeah, the ring looks fine to me. Oh, the diamonds are all they're little chips. They're not worth very much. Again, it's about the sentiment. He's giving you his grandmother's ring. His grandmother might still be alive. She probably gave it to him and said, here, your grandpa gave me this. I'm giving it to you. Now you give it to your future bride. Only to find out she's not worthy. It's like Thor's hammer. She can't pick it up. Can't pick it up. Don't marry her. She doesn't like the ring. That's a good way to gauge, by the way. Give some broad a tacky ring. See if she accepts it and is grateful. If she doesn't, bye-bye. Give her a cubic zirconia or some shit. If she comes back to you a week later, I took this ring to get evaluated and appraised, and they said it was not even real. I'm not marrying you. Bye. That's a good way, by the way. If you guys are dead set on getting married, if you won't listen to me, if you won't listen to your friends, maybe your friends are a bunch of pussies too, and they're encouraging you because, you choose people just like you to be friends with. Like attracts like, right? That's why we're attracted to the same race and all as well. We have in-group preference. Well, the same goes for virtues and values. We choose to be friends with people who are similar to ourselves. So maybe they're, not going to warn you, but I'm warning you. But this is a good way to test the broad, okay? Here you go. So you buy her what looks like a nice ring, but it's cubic zirconia, fake diamond. Or maybe it's one of those diamonds that's a real diamond, but they're made artificially, right? Where they take the carbon and then they compress it under pressure for a while, and it costs like 1/10. It's an actual diamond, technically a diamond, but not natural. Not naturally made in the earth, instead in a laboratory and under pressure. It costs like 1/10. Go get that, right? Like that or cubic zirconia. Oh, it's too perfect, And you'll know if you're dealing with a gold digger, you'll know that you're dealing with somebody who, and of course, in the end, most women all are gold diggers. They're concerned about the resources, but there's varying degrees, right? Is there any care for you? If she comes back a week later and says, "This is cubics. How dare you give me faux diamond?" There's no virtue there. There's no virtue there. She places no value in you. All of it is in your material possessions and what you can give her. That's a test. If she fails, leave. And don't feel bad about it because you haven't lost anything. Any feelings of loss would be based upon an erroneous image of this person that you have in your mind. Because now you found out they weren't what you thought they were, so there's nothing to feel bad about in terms of the loss, because you haven't lost anything. That would be my advice if you're dead set on getting married. That's a great test. Or even if it's just a girlfriend and a birthday gift, like diamond earrings or something. By the way, I would never get women anything extravagant like that. Don't get them great gifts like that. You're just getting them used to that, and you're just feeding their entitlement. Bad idea. Bad idea. All right. Let's move on, shall we? Something else I think is funny. Oh, this is funny. All right. So, people talk about white privilege, but amazingly, nobody out there is identifying as a white person to gain this wonderful yet somehow mysterious amorphous white privilege. But so many people are identifying as black. The number of Brazilians defining themselves as black has increased by 32% in the past 6 years alone. Brazil has one of the largest black populations outside of Africa. So from 2012 to 2018, the number of people declaring themselves blacks has increased by almost 5 million in America alone. Whoa. Why aren't they identifying as white? I can identify as white. I can identify as black. I can identify as a tree. You can identify as pretty much anything you want, except for somebody who's 20 years older, apparently. I can't change the identity of myself in regards to age, just my gender and race. Other things that are immutable characteristics, but the left doesn't seem to see that it's the same thing. But you can't be older than you are. That's stupid. It's the same thing, you idiot. They're all immutable characteristics, you pinheads. Anyway, so the in 2018, Brazil had 19.2 million people who declared themselves black. Okay. Oh, this is in Brazil. What? The fuck do I care? I thought this was in America. All right. 4.7 million more than 2012, which corresponds to a 32.2% increase in the period. This is revealed by a survey released on Wednesday by the Brazilian Institute of Geography and Statistics. What do I care what's going on in Brazil? With the exception of 2014, when the number of blacks remained stable in relation to the previous year, the percentage of declared black population has increased annually. It is therefore a trend. The specific reason for the increase of this declaration, in fact, we don't have. I'll tell you why. It's a worldwide phenomenon. Cultural Marxism is making inroads everywhere, okay? And teaching that blacks and other so-called minority groups or just, certain groups themselves. They don't even have to be minorities. I mean, look at Muslims. Look at people from Islamic countries. That's like 1.4 billion of these people, but somehow they're an oppressed class, even in their own countries. What? This is so retarded. It's so stupid. I'm not even going to read any more of this. Uninteresting story. Okay. Yeah, I didn't have a lot of time to vet all these articles. This fourth one, meh. I don't want to read that anymore. Yeah, postmodernism making way too many inroads, baby. Way too many. By the way, I suggest those of you who watch my content to be more familiar with some of the terminology I use. Do some research. Check out things like critical theory race. So people who don't understand or who think they understand but don't. Critical theory is just a tool, and it can be applied to different things. Some people erroneously believe that it's just a theory about and only about criticizing capitalism. That's not true. Critical theory is a tool of the left, of the Frankfurt School. It is a tool designed that can be applied to anything you want to deconstruct and delegitimize, okay? There's critical theory for race. There's critical theory for capitalism. I suggest you go check that out. Also do some research into postmodernism, relativism, idealism, and this will give you a good idea, and nihilism, some of the things that I talk about so that when I mention them, bring them up, you have a better idea of the things I'm referencing. That's just my suggestion to you. So, yeah, Suzanne Venker. Maybe she's the real deal. I don't know. I know that she's a shrink, or I think maybe she's just a psychologist. The difference would be that a shrink is, generally speaking, at least in my mind, a medical doctor who has chosen to focus on the problems of behavior that may or may not be linked to physiological causes. All right, while psychologists deal almost entirely in the problems of the mind caused by the environment and one's life experiences and such, while psychiatry not only deals with that, but also the problems of the mind and behavior that are caused by physiological means. Anyway, yeah, it's all bunk, really. The majority of it's bunk, believe me. But she might be the real deal. I've seen her on TV before, and she seems to genuinely care. And again, there are going to be exceptions. There are going to be outliers. The general rule still applies. The general rule being that women are not anti-feminist, okay? They're not. Sometimes somebody falls out of a 20-story window and lives. Sometimes somebody jumps out of an airplane and their fucking chute don't open, and miraculously they survive the fall. It happens sometimes, all right? So this woman's a rare outlier. Doesn't matter. Doesn't change the rule. The rule still applies, okay? But it's very interesting. You might want to check her out. I've read some of her writing. It's very interesting. She has some very interesting insights, and she's pretty much spot on with a lot of the stuff she says, so you might want to check her out. Again, I don't deny that there's rare outliers. I mean, one of my favorite philosophers is Ayn Rand, and that's a woman, okay? So also somebody else you might want to check out, Aynrand, Ayn Rand. Her philosophy of objectivism is similar to my worldview of realism and my philosophy, practical realism. So you might want to check that out. You also might want to check out the works of Aristotle. Although only about 5% of his work survived the test of time. You can thank, the Romans for that, burning down the Library of Alexandria and destroying most of his work. That's a whole nother story, whole nother show. Anyway, I'm going to leave on that note. Again, I apologize for the late start of this show. It was totally unavoidable. I wish I could have, avoided it. But again, real life concerns. So anyway, I'm going to get back to my life of two-faced jackets and other weird shit going on in the world, and wish you a good day. And if you want to contact me, you can do so by admin@therealistphilosopher.com. That's ADMIN at therealistphilosopher.com. If you'd like to be on the show, yes, I'm very comedic. I'm very live. I'm very animated in my shows. I don't take myself too seriously. And most of the time, I don't take the subjects I discuss very seriously. But I am still a very serious person and capable of such, and I'm a real deal philosopher. So if you would like to get in contact with me and get my view on a problem you might be having, or whatever subject you might want to discuss, we can very seriously take a look at that and discuss it during the show or off show, and then it would be posted later because some of you might have jitters, Believe it or not, when I was young, I had stage fright. Not anymore. Yeah. So, contact me at admin@therealistphilosopher.com, and we can discuss whatever subjects you might want to discuss. Also, if you'd like to donate, therealistphilosopher.com/donate. That's therealistphilosopher.com/donate. I have a lot of different methods. You can donate via Patreon. If you hate Patreon, you can donate Subscribestar. You don't like Subscribestar, you can donate via TippyStream, which I believe has the smallest commission of all of them. But TippyStream is just a one-time. Patreon would be like a recurring subscription type deal. So if you'd like to donate via those methods, just go to realistphilosopher.com/donate. I could really use your help. And of course, if you donate, you will get quicker, easier access to any replies from me, any correspondence via social media. So there's that. There are perks to donating. All right, trust me. Also, feel free to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Magus Reason on Facebook. On Twitter, I'm the Realist1967. My Skype, which is where I would talk to anybody, is The Realist Philosopher. Just do a search for The Realist Philosopher on Skype, with or without spaces. I think you would need spaces. Yeah, The Realist Philosopher, and you can add me there if you'd like to chat. I'm also on Gab and Minds. You'll find all these links in the description, minus Subscribestar and TippyStream, I think. You'll find those links on therealistphilosopher.com/donate. And you just might want to check out my website because it has all the links to all my different platforms, as well as more information about me and my views. So you might want to go check that out. And that's it. I'm the Realist Philosopher. I will see you again tomorrow. Different time, normal time, hopefully 10 to 11 a.m. New York City time. Have a nice day and take care.